false message. Next, print x dot is digit. It is verifying that string contains the numerical values or not. No, that's why it is giving a false value. Suppose if I take the another string y equals to in double quotes 1 2 3 4 5, and now if I want I can print the y. I can call the printer y dot I am going to use the is digit. If I run this program, it is displaying the value, true value, it is displaying true. Because in my y, all are digits are available. In my y, all digits are available, that's why it is displaying. In my y, all digits are available. Right. So that's why it is displaying the true value. So like that, if you want, you can convert the print x dot upper is a method. It will convert our lowercase into uppercase format. Python is a open source language converted to uppercase. Print x dot lower. If I run this program, it is converted all the characters into lowercase format and showing. Like that, you can work with some of the methods of this str class object right now. Now there is a one method called as a split method, that is important. Split is a one predefined method that is present inside the str class object. X dot split method divide the given string into multiple words, and all the words are stored into one iterable object. That iterable object is stored into the one variable, words variable. Split method is dividing entire string into multiple words. All the words are stored into one iterable object, and that iterable object is stored into the words variable. I can apply the concept of for loop. You know very clearly, if it is a iterable object, I can apply the for loop. For p in words, I can use a print of p. If I run this program, it will display the word by word, it will display. Python is a one word, easy is a one word, a is a one word, open source is a one word, language is a word. Because by default split method is dividing based on the space. Okay, this is nothing but working with some of the methods of the string. Let us go with the concept of collection types. What are the collection types available in the Python language means? List is a one collection. List is a one collection. Tuple is a one collection. Set is a one collection. DICT is a one collection type. Every collection type is a one class. Here class, the class name is a list. Every collection type is a one class. So here what is happening means, for every collection type also we can create the object. That means here I can create the object for the list class. What the collection type object is doing is, what the list class object is doing is, it is storing the other objects. Another one object here, this is the second object, this is the third object, this is the fourth object, like that. All these objects are stored into the single object, that is a list object. These technically we call as a elements. Elements we call here. This is a list object. In the list object, some other objects are stored. These we call as a elements. Same like that, you can create the tuple class object. It can store some elements. You can create set class object. It can store some elements. You can create the DACT class object, and the DACT class object can store the items. That means key values it will store. DACT class object will store key values. Now every collection type represented class object is a iterable type object. Iterable type means you can apply the for loop on that object. That means you can apply the for loop on list object. You can apply the for loop on tuple object. You can apply the for loop on set object. You can apply the for loop on DACT object. You can apply the for loop on all collection types represented classes objects. Right. After applying the for loop on all collection types, you can apply the for loop on all collection types represented classes objects. List class object, tuple class object, set class object, DACT class object. Like that we can apply the for loop on every collection type represented class object. Now what we can do means, we can create the list object. We can perform some operations on the elements. We can create tuple object. We can perform some operations on those elements. We can create set object. We can perform some operations on those elements. We can create DACT class object. We can perform some operations on the elements. Now let me show you how to create the list object and how to work with this list object. List object can be created by using square brackets. If I use x equals to square bracket, it internally create the list object. Print x, print type of x. Next print, if I want to know the number of elements in that one, I can use a len of x. List object can be created by using square brackets. And also I can create the list object by calling one function called as a list function. Through list function also list object can be created. Print y, print type of y. Next print len of y. Print y, print type of y, print len of y. Here also list object is created. Okay, this is the first property of the list. List objects can be created by using square brackets, or list object can be created by calling the list function. And another one is list object, we can give the elements 10, 40, 30, 20, 60, and I can print the z. So in the list object, insertion order is preserved. That means in which order we have given the elements, in the same order elements are going to be stored. That means list is following insertion order preserved mechanism. So first given element in first position, second given element is in second position, third given element in third position. In which order we have inserted the elements into the list, in the same order elements are storing. That mechanism we call as a insertion order preserved. And another one, in the list duplicate elements are allowed. 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 10 comma 40 comma 40 comma 20 comma 10. Duplicate elements are allowed in the list. If I use the concept of print of p, if I run this one, it is showing the duplicates. 10 is inserted for 3 times, 40 is inserted for 2 times, 20 is inserted for 2 times, because duplicate elements are allowed in the list. And within the list, heterogeneous elements you can store. Heterogeneous elements in the sense 100 comma 12.12 comma true. Here I am going to use the concept of print of q. Heterogeneous elements I am going to store. 100 comma 12.12 comma true. Now you see, list object is a mutable object. List object is a mutable object. The elements which we define within the list object can be a mutable type elements or immutable type elements. List object is a mutable object. The elements of the list can be a mutable or immutable. List object is a mutable object. The elements of the list can be a mutable or immutable. That means within the list object, I can add the elements, I can remove the elements, I can update the elements. In this example, Q of, already list supports indexing and slicing. Like as a string, it supports positive indexing and negative indexing. Q of index location 2 equals to, I am giving the value as some single quotes I am going to give, some location I am giving. If I print Q, you see the element of the list object is modified or not modified. You see, previously 100 12.12 true is there. Now 100 12.12 location is a string. In place of the true value, it is going to be stored the location value, because list object is a mutable object. Mutable object means we can modify the elements of the list. Now let us work with the concept of indexing and slicing of list. Ten comma 20 comma 30 comma 40 comma 50 comma 60, like this I am giving. Here I am going to use the concept of print of x. Here I am using print len of x. Len of x will count the number of elements. Simply I am going to use like this. If I run OK, number of elements are 6, fine. Now print of x of 2, that means plus 2 index position element. This is 0 1 2 3 4 5. If I give the backward indexing, that is a negative indexing, -1 -2 -3 -4 -5 -6. Now if I use a concept of print of x of -2, It will display the output here. Plus 2 index position element is 30, minus 2 index location position element is 50, because this is minus 1 minus 2. Print of x of 1 colon 4 I have given. This is the slice operator. What the slice operator will do means, start taking the element from the index position 1. Start taking the element from index position 1. Here, this is the index position 1, 2, 3. Because for the slice operator, ending index is always exclusive. That's why 1, 2, 3. That means 20, 30, 40 elements it will display. 20, 30, 40 elements. Here I am going to use a concept of print of x of 2 colon. I didn't specify the ending index. If I don't specify the ending index, it will read up to the last. Here 30, 40, 50, 60. From index location 2 onwards until end of the string, end of the list it will read. Print of x of I am going to give the beginning index. I am not specifying. Ending index I specify as a 4. What it will do means, if I don't specify the beginning index, starting from the 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, up to 3 it will take, because 4 is exclusive, ending index is exclusive. 10, 20, 30, 40 it will take. Now, if I want, I can apply the concept of print of x of minus 4 colon minus 1. I am going to use minus 4 colon minus 1. If I run this program, minus 4, this is a minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4. Minus 4 onwards up to minus 2 it will give, because minus 1 if I give, it is exclusive. Minus 4, minus 3, minus 2. 30, 40, 50. Here 30, 40, 50 you are getting the output. This is the list indexing and slicing. Same like as a string indexing and slicing. Let me take the another file. I take the one list object. Here 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 40 comma 50 comma 60 comma 70 I have given like this. I am going to use the concept of print of x. Next I am going to use print of len of x. You know, len will count the number of elements. Okay, fine. Now my requirement is, I want to search whether particular element is available or not available in my list. For that one, Python is supporting one operator called as a in operator. Membership operators are supported by the Python. There are two membership operators are there. One is a identity operators, special operators are there. Special operators are two types. One is identity operators, another one is a membership operators. In the membership operators, we have the two operators. One is a in operator, another one is a not in operator. Now, to search whether required element is available or not available in the list object, we can verify by using the in operator. Here I am going to use the concept of print of 20 in x, searching for the element 20 in the x, searching for element 20 in x. Whether 20 element is available or not available, it will verify. Yes, 20 element is available. If it is available, it will return the true value. It will return the true value. Suppose if I give the printer to 200 in x, 200 is not available. It will return the false value. Yes, by using in operator, I can search whether required element is available or not available. But until that search element is found, I want to ask the keep on. I have to ask the end user to enter the search element. End user to enter the search element always. For that one, what I do means I ask the end user to enter the search element by using the input function. Enter search element. The end user enter the search element. That element is taken and stored into the variable I, but how it will take means it is taken as a string format. Input function always read the data in the form of string format. That's why here I have to convert that string in the form of int format. That's why I have converted by using type conversion function. After that, I am going to take the one loop, that is an infinite while loop I am going to take. This statement also, that is a reading statement also, reading element statement also I define in infinite while loop. You know, if it is an infinite while loop, when the control will comes out from infinite while loop means if break statement is executed, then only it will come out. If I am writing the condition, if I in x, if I in x means if the search element is found in the list, it will return the true value. If it is returning true value means I will display the message called as a print element found. Element is found. After finding the element, I don't want to continue. That's why here I am going to use the concept of break. Suppose if I use a else means element is not found, I display the message called as a print element is not found. Element is not found, and it will continue the infinite while loop once again. Now here you just observe, if I run this program, enter search element, 12 I enter, element is not found. Once again it is asking enter search element. 25 is not found, it is asking enter search element. I enter 30 element is found. Whenever element is found, loop execution is break and displaying the message element is found. Okay, I am getting the output as element is found. Right. So like this you can write the code to verify whether required element is available or not available in the list object. Now let us implement the concept of unpacking the elements of the tuple. Suppose I take the x equals to 100 comma 12.12 comma true. I have taken like this. Here if I want I can print the x. What is unpacking means taking the elements from the list object and storing into the different variables. That means a comma b comma c equals to x. That means take the first element from the list, store into the variable A, take the second element from the list, store into the variable B, take the third element from the list and store into the variable C. Here I can use a concept of print of A comma type of A, print of A comma type of A. Next I am going to use print of B comma type of B. Next I am going to use print of C comma type of C. If I run this program and get the output, here 100, 12.12 true. Here 100, 12.12 true. 100 is taken as int type, 12.12 is taken as a float type, true is taken as a bool type. That means every element of the list is taken and stored into the separate variables. This concept we call as a unpacking elements of the list. While performing the unpacking, the number of elements of your list must be equals to number of variables. Number of elements of the list object must be equals to number of variables. Here 3 elements are there in the list object. I should have the 3 variables here. Suppose if I try to give the 4 variables, I should get the error message here. What that one means? Value error, not enough values to unpack. Suppose if I give the only 2 variables, here one more error I will get. Too many values to unpack. Too many values to unpack error message I am getting. While performing unpacking operation, number of elements must be equals to number of variables. Then only unpacking the elements are possible. Right. Let us work with the concept of working with the loop. For loop we can apply on the list object. While loop we can apply on the list object. Here, I am going to take the 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 40 comma 50 comma 60 I have taken. Here I am going to use a concept of print of x, print of x. Now, here if I want I can apply the for loop on the list object, because list object, not only list object, all collection types objects are iterable objects. For p in x, here I am going to use a concept of print of p. Here you are getting the data 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Next, I am going to apply the calculating sum of all the elements of the list object. Calculating sum of all the elements of the list object. For that one variable I have taken. The variable name is s. In that s variable, 0 value is stored. After that, in the for loop, in this for loop, instead of printing the values, I am taking s equals to s plus p. S equals to s plus p. For p in x, s equals to s plus p. After that one, I am going to use a concept of print yes. Here sum of all the elements is calculated and display the output as a 210. I can apply the while loop on the list object because while loop, list object is supporting indexing. While I less than len of x, while I less than len of x, here I am going to use the concept of print of x of I. After that I have written I equals to I plus 1. Now you see, first I value is a 0, 0 less than len of x. Len of x means it will give the 6. Number of elements are 6. 0 less than 6. Condition true. Whenever condition true, x of 0, print x of 0. That means x of 0, it will display the value. Len of x of 0, it will display the value as a 10. After that, I value is incremented by 1. 1 less than 6. And x of 1 means it will display the value 20. Like that, element by element it will display. But I don't want to display the element by element. I want to display the sum, total sum I want to display. Here one variable I am declaring t. Here in place of printing I am going to use t equals to t plus x of I, calculating the sum of all the elements of the list object. Here I am going to use a concept of print of t, total it will give, total it should give as a 210. If I run this one I will get the total as a 210. So you can apply the for loop or you can apply the while loop and you can display the element by element. Element by element you can display, or else you can calculate sum of all the elements of the list object, or you can calculate sum of all the elements of tuple object by using while loop and by using for loop. Now let us work with the concept of nested list. That means a list inside a list. That is x equals to square bracket. In this one list 1 comma list 2 comma list 3. In this list 1 I am defining the 10 comma 20 comma 30. Here I am going to defining the values 40 comma 50 comma 60. Here I am going to define the value 70 comma 80 comma 90. Here I can apply the concept of print of x. Print of x. If I use a concept of print of x, it will display that all the elements, all the list of lists you are getting. You know very clearly I can apply the for loop. I can display the element by element. Element by element means list by list I can display for p in x. Here I am going to use a concept of print of p. Here list by list it will display. Square brackets 10, 20, 30, square brackets 40, 50, 60, square brackets 70, 80, 90. List by list. But in every sublist also I want to display the element by element. For that one I am going to use for Q in P. For Q in P, and here I am going to use a concept of print of Q. First go to the main list, take the first sublist. That sublist is stored into the variable P, and from the P take the first element, store into the Q and display the Q. Second element, like that. First sublist and its element, second sublist and its element, third sublist and its element, like that it is displaying. Every sublist and its elements it is displaying. Now here I don't want to display the any sublist information. I don't want to display. Here simply if I use a concept 10, 20, 30, you are getting 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, element by element you are getting. But I want to display in the form of matrix representation format. For that one, while printing the Q, I can give the end equals to end equals to, I can give some space. Now what happens means all the elements are displayed in same row. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, all the elements are displaying in the same row. So to overcome this problem, after displaying the three elements, I want to move the control to the new line. That's why here I am going to use the concept of printer. If I use the print, control will move to the next line. Now it is represented in the form of matrix format. It is represented in the form of matrix format. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. All these are represented in the form of matrix format. Like that, you can take the another matrix and you can apply the matrix addition, matrix multiplication, matrix subtraction. You can perform the operations. Matrix addition, matrix multiplication, matrix subtraction, all these operations you can perform. Here just I have shown you how to represent a one matrix. Like that you can take the another matrix, you can display that, you can perform the addition, multiplication, subtraction operations you can perform. And also you try another requirement, eliminating duplicate elements of a list. Suppose you take a one list object with duplicate elements 10, 20, 10, 30, 40, 10, 20, like these elements are there. So in this one some duplicates are available. Finally I want to get the output as a final output. What I am expecting means list object 10, 20, here the 30, after that 40. Non-duplicates only I want to get. Remove the duplicate elements and it should display the non-duplicate elements. So this is my input list. Finally I should get the output like this. You try. This is important and people frequently ask this question in interview also. So you can try with eliminating the duplicate elements of a list. Now, so let's go with some other one. Working with methods of list. Working with methods of list. There are so many methods are there in the list object. So we have to work with those methods. First, you need to know what methods are present inside your list object. Before that one, I am giving some elements into the list object 10, 20, 30, 40, here I am giving the 10, 50, 60, 70, like that I have given some elements. After that, if I want, I can use a print of x. After printing the x, now first you need to know what methods are present inside the list. For that one, you can use a help of list. Here you see mainly the methods are, one method is a append method, method is a clear method is a copy method, and method is a count method. Another method is extend method, index method, insert method, pop method, remove method, reverse method, sort method. Like that we have the different varieties of methods. So these are the methods present inside the list. Let us work with the methods of this list. Now you just observe, whenever I use a print x, whatever the elements are there in the list object, all the elements are displaying one after another. 10, 20, 30, 40, 10, 50, 60, 70, displaying the elements. After that, I am going to use a concept of print of x of 3 I am using, sorry. Not print, directly I call the x dot append of, I am giving the element as a 90. So take the element 90, add it to the at the end of the list. Whether it is added or not added, how do you know? Means if you print, you will come to know. Print of x, it is showing 10, 20, 30, 40, 10, 50, 60, 70, 90. At the end of the list, the element 90 is added. Now, let me call the another method called as a insert x dot insert element I am giving as a some 80 in the index position 3, and I am going to use a print of x. So here you just observe, I have given the reverse. I want to give the first index position 3. After that I have to give the element 80. Yes. Now in the index position 3, this is a 0, this is 1, this is 2. In the index position 3, element 80 is added. But previously in the index location 3, element 40 is available. That is moved to the next position. That element is moved to the next position. Now, next I am going to use a concept of x dot there is a one method called as a clear method. What the clear method will do means remove all the elements of the list object. If I use the concept of print of x, it is removing all the elements of the list. No elements are in list object. Yes, it is removing all the elements of the list object. Right. But if I remove all these elements, I cannot able to perform some other operations, but initially I am removing the statements. At the end of the all operations performing, I clear the elements. Now there is another list I am taking with the values as a 120, 100, 110. I have taken the another list object. Here I am going to use a print of y I am using. If I use a print of y, it will display the all these elements 120, 100, 110. Now list object contains one method called as a extend, x dot extend of y, x dot extend of y. What it is doing means taking all the elements from the y and add it to the list object. Here I am going to use the concept of print of x. Now you see whether the y list elements are added to the x list or not. You see 10, 20, 30, 80, 40, 10, 50, 60, 70, 90. After that you are getting 120, 100, 110. You are getting the values. Now x dot, there is a one method called as a count method, print. I am using x dot count of 10. I am using count of 10. That means given element repeated for how many number of times it is going to be shown. Yes, 10 element is repeated for 2 times. If I give the element as a some 80 element is repeated for only one time, it will display the 80. That is displaying for the one time it is displaying. Now if I give the something like as a 120 or else 160, but that 160 element is not available, that's why it is displaying the count as a 0. If the element is available, display the count. If the element is not available, display the 0. Now there is another method called as a index method. I am going to use print x dot, the method name is index of 120. That means identify the index position of the 120 element. If I run this program, 120 element is available in index position 10. Suppose if I give print x dot index of 10, print x dot index of 10. Actually 10th element is present in multiple indexes. By default it will give first occurrence index. Yes, 10 is available in a 0 index position, that's why it is giving the index position as a 0. Next I am going to use a concept of print of x dot index of 10. I am using comma 2. Comma 2 means start searching for the element 10 from index location 2 onwards. Start searching for the element 10 from index location 2. From index location 2 means this is 0, 1, 2. 2 onwards it is searching for the 10. 2, 3, 4. Where it is available means index location 5 it is available. Index location 5. 5th index location, the element 5 is available. That is, element 10 is available. Like that you can search for the index of the given element. Sometimes the given element is not available in that indexes. Suppose I have given as a 1010. That element is not available. It is giving the error message called as a value error. If the given element is not available, it is going to give the value error message. Okay, fine. And I can apply the another method called as a we can perform the sorting operations. We can perform sorting. I want to arrange the elements in the form of sorting order. How can I means x dot sort. What the sort method will do means arrange all the elements in the form of sorting order and display that all the elements in sorting order. By default, which order means ascending order they arrange. Here 10 10, here 10 10 20 30 40 50 60 70 80 90 100 110 120 we are getting the output. It is arranged in the ascending order. There is a one method called as a x dot reverse is a one method is a reverse method will arrange all the elements in reverse order. After arranging in reverse order, if I use the concept of print of x, if I run this program, it will display the output like this. So 120, 110, 100, 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40 you are getting. Actually, this reverse method is not arranging in descending order. Whatever the elements are there in the list object currently, those elements simply it will do the reverse. Simply it will perform the reverse operation. Whenever it will perform reverse operation, already in ascending order, whenever it will perform the that is a reverse method, it is also automatically reverses the elements. After reversing the elements, you can able to see the elements in the descending order like this. And there is a method called as a remove method is a remove. What the remove method will do means remove the given element. X dot, the method I am going to use as a remove method, remove of element 40 I am giving. If the element 40 is available, the remove method will remove that element. Print of x. If I run this one, you see that the element 40 is removed or not. Previously element 40 is available. Now element 40 is removed. Suppose if the given element is not available, I am giving the element as a 400. Remove method will give the error message if the given element is not available. What error message it is giving means value error message it is displaying. Value error. Remove method is giving the value error message. Now, you just observe. There is another method called as a pop method is there. X dot pop of. Pop method will remove the element in the given index position. In the index position, third index position, whatever the element is there, that element it is going to remove. This is a 0, 1, 2, 3. In the previously third index position, the element is 90. Now the third index position element is 80 only. That means it is removing the element. So 120, 110, 100, 90. But now 90 is deleted and putting that is giving the value as a 80. So in the given index position, whatever the element is there, that element it is removed. Suppose if I give index position 13, but 13 index is not available, it is giving the error message, that is the index error. That error message is a pop index out of range. Pop index out of range error message, it is going to be displayed. Okay, so this is the information regarding to the just working with the methods of the list object. Finally, I am going to call the x dot clear. Then clear method is removed all the elements of the list object. If I want, I can use a print of x. If I run this program executed successfully, and finally I am not going to get any output. Empty message I am going to get. That list object I am getting. This list object is a empty list here. So this is the information regarding to the working with methods of the list. There is one more concept is there in the list, that is nothing but a comprehensions. Instead of giving the elements into the list object directly, if I write some logic in the list, that logic will execute and generate the elements automatically. If I write some logic in the list, that logic will generate the elements automatically. In the list, I am going to write the logic. How to write the logic means, here I am going to use a P for P in range of I am giving the 10. What happens here means, first range function will execute. Range function will generate the values from 0 to 9. First to take the value 0 is stored into the P, and that P is added to the list. So if I print the X, I am going to get the list object with the element. List object with the elements 0 to 9, I will get the elements. Yes, list object is giving the values with 0 to 9. Now, what is happening exactly here means, this is internally converted like this. X equals to, first it will take it as an empty list. After that one, for P in range of 10, and in this one we use the concept of X dot append of P, and after that one I am going to use that print of X. I am using print of X. That means the first logic is equivalent to this second logic. This is a comprehension technique logic, but this is a normal logic. So if I write normally, the number of lines of code is increasing. If I apply the comprehension technique, the number of lines of code is decreasing. I am going to take the another comprehension techniques I want to apply. X equals to square bracket here, P star P I am going to use for P in range of 10 I have given. What it will do means, here if P modulo 2 double equals to 0. How this will work means, first go to the range function, generate the values 0 to 9. First value is stored into the variable P, and verifying whenever that value is divided by 2, remainder is 0 or not 0. If remainder is 0, then that element is added. That element means that element square is added. P into P is added, square. Take the second element, verify whether it is a even value or not. If it is a even, it will add the square of that value. And here I am going to use a print of X. If I run this program, I am getting the in between 0 to 9 even number squares it is displaying. In between 0 to 9 even number squares it is displaying. 0, 4, 16, 36, 64. Yes. Now, how this logic is internally represented means, first empty list is taken. After that, for P in range of 10, range of 10. In this one I am going to write if p modulo 2 double equals to 0. Here x dot append of p. After that I am going to use the concept of print of x. Print of x. If I run this program, it is executed successfully and displaying the output 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. It is showing the output. 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. I am getting the output. Okay. But here what I have used here, p star p is used. P star p means here also I have to use a p star p. So this is a normal logic. This normal logic I have represented by using this is a comprehension logic. This logic comprehension technique is implemented by using normal logic. Means this normal logic looks like this. This is nothing but a comprehensions, list comprehensions we call. Now with this we completed the list collection. Let us go for the another collection called as a tuple. Tuple is also like as a list, but some differences are there. What is the main difference between the list and tuple means list objects are mutable objects, tuple objects are immutable objects. List objects are mutable objects, tuple objects are immutable objects. Now let me create a tuple. How can I create the tuple object means by using parentheses. Here I am going to use a print of x. Next I am going to use a print of type of x. Print of len of x. So here open parenthesis and close parenthesis tuple. Here class tuple type. Here number of elements are 0. This is a tuple class tuple type. Here the number of elements are 0. That means tuple object can be created by using parenthesis. And also tuple object can be created by calling the tuple function. Print of y. Next I am going to use a print of type of y. Next I am going to use a print of len of y. Len of y is indicating number of elements. Here 0. That means tuple object can be created by using the parenthesis. Tuple object can be created by calling the tuple function, or tuple object can also be created by assigning more than one value to a variable. If I assign more than one value to a variable, automatically all the values are taken, internally creating tuple object. All those values are taking and internally creating tuple object. The tuple object is stored into the variable z. Here I am going to use a concept of print of z. Now you see 10, 20, 30 class tuple type I am getting, number of elements are 3. Now in the tuple insertion order is preserved. Like as a list, insertion order is preserved in the tuple. Suppose p equals to open parenthesis and close parenthesis 10 comma 40 comma 30 comma 70 comma 60 comma 40, like that I am using. Here I am going to use a concept of print of. Here insertion order is preserved. In which order we inserted the element, in the same order elements are stored. 10, 40, 30, 70, 60, 40. Now q equals to I am going to give the 10 comma 20 comma 10 comma 30 comma 20 comma I am going to give the 10, because I am inserting the duplicate values. Whether duplicates are allowed or not allowed, you see. Print of, I am going to use a q. Print of q. Whenever I use a print of q, whether duplicates are allowed or not allowed, it is showing. That is a 10, 20, 10, 30, 10. Duplicates are allowed. Duplicate elements are allowed in the tuple. Insertion order is preserved in the tuple. Heterogeneous elements. In the tuple, I am going to use a 100 comma 12.12 comma true. Like that I am using. After that I am going to use a concept of print of, or I am going to use print of or. Now if I run this program, it is showing the output. You see, heterogeneous elements are allowed. 100, 12.12 true. Heterogeneous elements are allowed. Insertion order is preserved. Duplicate elements are allowed. Heterogeneous elements are allowed. Indexing is supporting. Indexing and slicing is supporting. Print of index x of index position 2 I am giving. Yes, in index position 2, whatever the element is there, that element it is going to be displayed. 30. Same list indexing like that, tuple indexing and tuple indexing is supporting. Like as a list slicing, tuple slicing is also supported. Here I am going to use a concept of print of x of minus 2 I am giving. Minus 2 index position element it will show you, that is a 50. Now here I am going to use a concept of print of x of 2 colon 5 I have given. From index location 2 to 4 it will take. That is index location 2, index location 3. After that index location 4 the element it is displayed. 2, 3, 4 index position element it is showing. Print of x of, I am going to use the concept of minus 5 colon minus 2 I have given. That means starting from minus 5 index, minus 5, minus 4, minus 3 index position elements, it is showing like this. Fine. This is the indexing and slicing. Now I can apply the for loop and while loop on the tuple object. 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 40 comma 50 comma 60. You know already we can apply the for loop and while loop. First I am going to use the print of x. After that I am going to use the concept of print of I directly apply the for loop for p in x. I am going to use the concept of print of p. That means element by element it will display. In place of displaying the element by element, I can calculate sum of all the elements of that tuple. How can I means s equals to 0. Here instead of printing that one, what I am going to do means s equals to s plus p I used, and after that I am going to use the concept of print of s. Print of s. If I run this program, you will get the output as a 210. You will get the output as a 210. Next, I am going to apply the while loop. While loop is working based on indexing. Here I equals to 0. Here I am going to use the concept of while I less than len of x. Here I am going to use a print x of I. After that one I equals to I plus 1. Yes. Here 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Like that we get the output. But instead of displaying the values by using while loop, I want to calculate sum of all the elements. T equals to 0. Here I am going to use a t equals to t plus x of I. After that, here I am going to use the concept of print of t, that is a total it is calculated and showing. So like that we can apply the for loop and while loop on the tuple object. We can apply the indexing and slicing on the tuple. Okay, here I have taken the concept of tuple. In 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 40 comma 50 I have taken. If I try to modify the element of the tuple based on indexing, I try to modify the element. Here I am going to use a print of x. After that I am using the concept of print of x of 2. X of 2 means display the element, no problem. But after that I try to modify the element of x of 2 equals to 300 I try to give. After that I am trying to use the concept of print of x. I am going to get error message. The reason is tuple object is a immutable object. That's why here I am getting the error message. You see, tuple object does not support item assignment, because once the tuple object is created with some elements, You cannot modify the elements of the tuple object in future. Next, that's why it is giving the error message here. If you want, you can search whether element is available or not available. Print 20, print of 20 in X. That means what? Element 20 is available or not available in this X. It is showing the 20 is available. It is returning the true value. If it is not available, it will return the false value. If I give the print to 200 in X, 200 is not available. It is giving the value as a false value. It is giving. Now, like that you can search for the elements by using this membership operator called as in operator. I want to apply the unpacking elements of the tuple. Unpacking elements. Unpacking. Y equals to 100 comma 12.12. I am giving the false. False I have given. And here I am going to use a print of y. Print of y. After that I am going to use a print of y of index location 2. Print of y of 2. It will display the output, no problem, but this is not my intention. I want to perform unpacking. 3 elements are there. That's why 3 variables I declare. A comma b comma c equals to y. After that I am going to use the concept of print of a comma here type of a print of b comma type of b. Now if I run this program, into value that is 100, that is a float value 12.12, and c I am going to use finally the print of c. C comma here I am going to use a type of c. Type of c. Here it is going to be shown in the output like this, type of C, that you are getting the false boolean type value, you are getting boolean type. So this is the unpacking the elements of the tuple. You know already, while performing the unpacking, the number of variables must be equals to number of elements, otherwise unpacking the elements of the tuple is not possible. Now let's work with the concept of nested tuples. Tuple inside tuple. X equals to tuple 1. In this one, tuple 1 comma tuple 2 comma tuple 3 I am giving. In the tuple 1 I give the value 10 comma 20 comma 30. In the tuple 2 I am going to give 40 comma 50 comma 60. In this tuple 3 I am giving the 70 comma 80 comma 90. Here I am going to use the concept of print of X I am going to use. So here I am going to get the tuple of tuples. Tuple contains the other tuples. Tuple of tuples are stored in that one. Now I can apply the for loop inside for loop to display the tuple by tuple. Here I am taking the for p in x. Here I can use the concept of print of p. It will display the tuple by tuple. But if I want, I can represent in the form of matrix format. Here instead of printing P directly here, I am going to take the for Q in P. Here I am going to use a print of Q. Print of Q I am going to use print of Q. Whenever I use print of Q, then it will display the element by element 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 like this. But here if I want to represent in matrix format, here I am giving the end equals to some empty space I have given. After displaying the first nested tuple elements, then I want to move the control to the next line. For that one I am going to use printf. Here you are getting the output. In matrix format you are going to get the output. Now like this you can apply the nested tuple, but in the tuple I can also store the list I can also store. So if I want, I can print like this, no problem. Here it is list is storing, because tuple object is a immutable object. The elements of the tuple can be a mutable type elements or immutable type element. That means tuple object is immutable object. Whatever the elements are there in the tuple, the elements can be any type of elements. That means those may be a mutable type elements or those may be a immutable type elements. Any type of elements those are. So that's why I can store this one. If I want, I can modify the data of this list object. Because list is a mutable, I can modify the elements of the list. This is a x of 0 of 0. This is x of 0 of 1. This is x of 0 of 2. This is x of 1 of 0. This is x of 1 of 1. 1 of 2. This is x of 2 of 0. X of 2 of 1. X of 2 of 2. Here I am going to use the concept of x of 2, 1 of 2 or else 1 of 1 equals to, I try to modify the value 100. Yes, no problem, we can modify. Because I am not modifying the elements of the tuple, I am modifying the elements of the list. Because list is a mutable type, I can change. In the list object, the element is modified. This is a list object. The list object element is changed. This is the information regarding to this concept. So tuple can store the tuples. Tuple can also store the list. If the tuple is storing the list, that list elements can be modified. Now let us work with the methods of the tuple. Let us work with the methods of the tuple. Here very less number of methods are there in the tuple, because tuple is a immutable. Immutable means we cannot add the elements, we cannot remove the elements, we cannot update the elements like that. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 like this I have given. After that 10, 70 also I have given. Now here I am going to use the concept of print of x. Print of x means all it will display that tuple. So first what methods are in the tuple you can identify by using one function called as a helper. Help of, I am going to use the concept of tuple. Whenever I apply the help of tuple, I am getting very less number of methods in the tuple. There are only these methods, count method, and another one is the index method. One is a count method and another one is the index method. So what is the use of the count method means? To count on given element repeated how many number of times that you can use. Now here I am going to use the concept of print of x dot count of count of 40 I have given, count of 40. Then 40 element is repeated for how many times it will give. 40 element is available only for one time. 40 element is available only for one time. Next I am going to use the concept of print of x dot. I am going to use the concept of index of. I am giving the 50, index of 50. Index of 50. That means the 50 element index position it will give. That is a 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth index position it is available. Next I am using the concept of print of x dot. I am going to use index of I am going to use not in index of 10 I am giving. 10 means you know very clearly 10 is present inside the multiple positions, but by default it is giving the first occurrence. First occurrence only it is giving by default. First occurrence means 0th index position. I am going to give the 10 searching for the element 10 from index location 4. Search for the element 10 from index location 4 onwards. From the 4th index onwards, where that element is available means in last that is a year 6th index position the element is available, 10th element is available. So this is these are the methods. Only these methods, count method and index method. There is no append method, pop method, remove method, extend method. These methods are not supported by the tuple because tuple object is a immutable type. Immutable type means you can read the elements from that list object, sorry, tuple object, but you cannot able to write the elements into the tuple object once a tuple object is created. Now let us try to apply the that is a comprehension technique on the tuple. Comprehension techniques we have to apply on the tuple comprehension techniques. X equals to, here I am going to use the concept of open parenthesis and close the parenthesis. Here instead of giving the elements directly, I write some logic. If I write some logic, I will get the I may get the tuple object, or I may not get the tuple object. Here I am using P for P in range of 10 I am using range of 10 I am using. Whenever I use this range of 10, here I am going to use the concept of print of x. If I run this program, I will get the generator object I am getting. Whenever I try to apply the comprehension technique on the tuple object, instead of getting the tuple object, I am getting the generator function. No problem. Generator function object is also a iterable object. I can apply the for loop for something like as a I in x. I can print the variable I. Here I am going to use the print of variable name I am giving as a I. Then if I run this program, it will execute and showing the output 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 0 to 9 elements are there. Those 0 to 9 elements it is showing. This is a tuple comprehension technique. But if I try to apply tuple comprehension, directly I am not getting the tuple object. I am getting the generator function object. From the generator function object, I can get the one by one element by applying the tuple comprehension techniques. So this is nothing but working with the tuples, list and tuples. We have the some other two types of collections. One is a set and another one is a dictionary. Set and dictionary. that I will discuss in the next class. If you have any queries regarding to these sessions, you can ask me the question.